What made you think junk removal is where it's at? There's a real market out there for this.
Dude, you can make some good money off this. When you get haters, know that you are doing the right thing.
So now I'm going to move over to SNN Junk Removal. And I know, Nicole, that you're a big part of this. You show up to the BNI meetings. You're there. You speak about it really well. So you obviously know what it is that you're talking about, right? So let me ask you, how did you guys start this company together? What made you think, junk removal is where it's at, and that it could potentially make so much money? Because after getting to know you both, there's a real market out there for this, but I would never have known that if I didn't know you prior.
I think a lot of that actually came from him. He's the one that created and started the whole business. I really just said, go ahead and start a business, because I had mine and he needed something that he kind of started from scratch. And I was just like, whatever it is, I don't know. I'm like, junk removal, it doesn't sound that appealing. I'm like, I don't know how it's going to work. But he was like, he'd done all his research into it. So it wasn't something I was like, but I was like, that wasn't my number one priority or number one choice when it came to, junk removal, that sounds fun. But he had done so much work on the back end and really read into it and had talked to a friend that was doing it. And, then he came up with a whole marketing strategy and logo, and he started getting all excited about it. So I was like, I don't have any problem helping and working on something. I've managed so many other businesses before. I don't think it was something I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be hard. But yeah. I was just like, I don't have a passion. I didn't have a passion for junk removal. He wasn't like, let's do junk removal. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting all my life for it. But it was like, it's cool. Something that he created that he wanted to do and I could support. And we could financially set aside money for that type of business. So I was like, yeah, and we'll be able to help people out. And we got to meet, got to meet a lot of really cool people.
I love how your wife is lifting you up and setting you up so that you could share more about it too. Yeah. So cute.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I mean, did I ever think I'd be doing junk removal for a living? No, never. I would never have assumed. I mean, I've heard about 1-800-GOT-JUNK, right? I mean, there are a world actually franchise. I mean, I kind of heard their story like way back in the days, how they started. It was in Canada. Some guy was at a drive-thru and he saw someone with a beat up truck that said junk removal. And the guy's like, oh, I can do better. And eventually he launched 1-800-GOT-JUNK and it became a worldwide phenomenon. They are the world's largest junk removal company. Mm-hmm. I would have never thought I'd be doing it. And during my last corporate job, one of our common friends, her boyfriend brought it up to me one day. He goes, oh, you know what I've been doing on the side, making some money. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, junk removal. I'm like, junk removal? What?
Who would have ever thought?
And right. And I'm like, because this guy is like, he has a corporate job. Like, he makes good money. He loves what he does. I'm like, why the hell are you doing junk removal? And he goes, dude, you can make some good money off this. He goes, I would stay under the table if I were you, but he goes, I had to declare LLC because I could get more corporate jobs. I was like, oh, okay. So it was a seed that was planted in my mind. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, one of my buddies who I grew up with had been posting stuff about junk removal. And I'm like, okay. So I had that notion on my mind. And after my last corporate job ended, I was like, I was out of there. I just couldn't deal with that environment anymore. It was just, I was making okay money, but it's like, it's the same thing. You go to a job, you're sitting in front of a computer. Sure, you give presentations, you know what you're talking about. You're leading teams, you're doing all that. Yeah, you're handling 200 stores. But then, a lot of other people getting credit for your work, or it's stressful, it's not fun. And so I had some time to think about it, and it was something that was marinating in my mind. But slowly started coming to fruition. I was just like, and I started talking to some friends. I was like I called a buddy of mine. I was like, dude, what do you think about junk removal? He goes, I see these guys everywhere doing it. And he goes, I know you'd be doing it legit because I know you don't want to do the under the table stuff. I'm like, no, I want to create a real company. I see people doing it all the time, but I know nothing about it. I was like, I don't want to jump into an industry where I'm sure it's pretty saturated, right? So I kept thinking about it, and then finally I hit up my friend who I grew up with. I'm like, hey, junk removal, what is this all about? I'm like, any pointers, tips? I was like, I'm sure I'm not the only person that's asked you. He goes, well, actually, you are the first person to ask me. He goes, I got into it because I got let go from my last job, and I started up as a, side hustle that became my full-time gig. And he goes, I really enjoy it. I get to spend I get to see my wife more. I get to definitely see my kids more. And I was like, that's a great thing because I'm like, because with my corporate job, I'm leaving the house by like 7 and I'm back by like 6 p.m. I've missed out on a lot of things like, performances with the kids at school.
Right.
I'm sure my wife was not happy having to get up and take the kids to school like early, and I got to go to work. And I'm like, oh, this is, and so thinking about this and I'm toying with the idea. And then, of course, your phone listens to you and all these things for junk universities start popping up on my phone. So I reached out to one guy. He sounded legit, actually, so I enrolled in his program. And then as I'm talking to my friends, other people that are doing it, and I realized this is a really saturated market. It's like a craze around the country right now. Everyone wants to do junk removal.
Really?
But most people do not do it legitimately. So after like a year or two, most people kind of fall out. It's like flies falling off, right? But then for every one that kind of falls through, like 5 more pop up. But not everyone's doing it legitimately. And as I started to doing the research behind it, doing the market research strategies, trying to figure this whole thing out, then I started seeing companies everywhere, legit companies too, local. And I reached out to a couple of them and, chatted with a few guys here and there. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can make something out of it. So I reached out to one of my buddies. That's where the logo came from. But I told him specifically, I'm like, hey, I need something that says Polynesia, where we're from, because he was a guy from Samoa. I'm like, hey, something that says South Pacific, where we're from. I was like, incorporate designs from a lot of our different countries if you can. So he came up with a couple of designs, and this is the one that stood out the most. I mean, the design was a little different because, we as we joined Parrots Lab, we, rebranded under SNN Junk Removal. And so I was able to change that. But as I started marketing and I was doing a lot of my own marketing as much as possible. I mean, it was gaining traction. People started noticing me. And even the legit guys were, I'd see them at the landfill or at the recycler, and they'd be like, hey, we see your ads everywhere, or, we see you marketing everywhere. Hey, keep up the hard work. We're seeing you doing it legitimately. Good job. I was like, oh, thank you. That's nice, and so, and then, I was, I had somebody running like ads, but, it was like, the video content was nice, but they weren't running any metrics behind it like, Parrots Lab does. I get reports every month, my SEO reports, how everything's going. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is what I need. And so obviously I'm glad I joined Parrots Lab Media to help me get started. And it's obviously the focus is more on organic growth. And so sure, it's a little slower, but people recognize you more over time. And
speaking of being recognized and you going viral, I want to know from Nicole, what were your thoughts on that one person that reached out to you saying that you were illegitimate and they were rude and they created this whole fiasco with you? What? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember because he was fired up. I can't believe this guy. Why is he so mad that I'm doing this? And I was just like, those people are just out there. It doesn't matter what any business you do. There's always going to be somebody that's either doing it under the table or they're mad that you're doing it better or they think they can do it better. So it was just like, oh, it's just a knucklehead. But I was like, it was crazy because at the same time, he's helping out clients that have been hurt by people or businesses that are like, I would assume his is they're illegitimate. So people that have had things stolen from their property, we've kind of around people that they dump it in the wrong location and either they get a fine for it or the police come knocking on their door. So it's just, I was like, those people are really out there. Their stories are out there about just illegitimate, not good business companies that are doing junk removal. So it was just kind of cool that we're doing it the right way. We don't have those. We have a lot of reviews that say he does a good job and that we do a good job. And people trust us to do kind of like bigger jobs. So it was weird that guy went so far out of his way, but it's just social media. It was just online. He just went on a rant. I think we both have or know people that have had business that, somebody just wants to rain on your parade.
Well, yeah, because when you get haters, that's when that's a sign that your marketing is working, right?
Because I remember I called Naja and I was like, dude, I just got this call. And he goes, The first thing out of his mouth, welcome to fame, my friend. And he goes, this means that you
Junk
are
famous.
And I was
Junk
like,
famous.
junk famous? Like, and he goes, and he straight up told me, just like in our last podcast, he goes, when you get haters, know that you are doing the right thing. He goes, and he gave me the example of another client of your guys's where he had gone through the same thing. I'm sure he still gets some haters, of course. But of course, this guy is doing amazing. I mean, your guys' marketing has helped him, and it was. Yeah, in fact, I had reached out to him before I even joined Parrots Lab, and I asked him and the first thing he said, brother, let me tell you, Parrots Lab has gone out of their way. He goes, they will treat your business like their baby. He goes, they will go out of their way. Their teams. He goes, they have real people behind everything that, they do for you. He goes, it takes time because they focus more on organic growth rather than the flash growth. He goes, and organic growth gets you more ingrained in the community over time, and people will remember you longer and better that way. And so, when I got this phone call, I was like, "What the?" But then I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. That if someone went out of their way to find my personal cell number, to reach out to me and say all these nasty things to me, and then threatening me, I'm like, either I caught this guy on a bad day, but then at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I was like, he went out of his way to insult me. I guess I should be honored. And so I'm like, all right, well.
I think that's part of the reason why we're successful at what we do too, is because we're not that type of business where we're going to leave anybody hurt or stolen from or not be reputable. And what he's talking about, all the things we weren't. So it was kind of like reassuring that those people are out there and we're not those people. And at the same time, he helps get us credibility because we don't do jobs and we aren't a company that thrives on hurting or damaging other people's things.
I have to ask. I'm sorry, Justin.
That's okay.
But I have to ask you, Nicole, what were your thoughts when Justin came up to you and said that he wanted to spend a large amount of money, right? Because we're not hundreds of dollars, we're thousands of dollars, that he wanted to spend that amount when it came to marketing. Were you like, are you crazy? What was the thought behind it?
Well, he had faith in you guys. He knew enough about you. It wasn't like, oh, I found this company online and I'm just gonna give him thousands of dollars. He came and you check out your facility and he talked with Naja a lot. So I was like, that is a large amount of money. If it's not gonna work out in the next 6 months and we're not getting any kind of business, then you definitely gotta jump ship. But if you really think that this is gonna work out, then I'm not avid in marketing and technology and everything you offer to us, whether it's Facebook and ads and podcasts. So it wasn't something I would be like, well, in my professional opinion, I would like to say that that's a bad decision. It was just like, okay, let's try it out. Let's see. You've done some research before. You know people that work with them. You say they have a professional setup. So let's try it out. I mean, that's not something me and him really want to focus our time on marketing. We'd rather have somebody who really is involved and has a team. Because once he said you had a team, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because we're not focusing on just like one guy to do everything. Because that's what he was running into. He was on his phone and trying to figure out so many different strategies, and he didn't know where to start and didn't know what was going to work out and didn't know much about computers. I mean, we both have laptops. We both went to college, but as far as like marketing and how it's developing, we knew we needed somebody. It was just finding that right person. So when he said he wanted to give you a shot, then I was like, we're going to have to give people a shot because that's not something we really want to spend our time doing. We rather spend time on our companies and developing them.
I have a couple buddies around the country that have really successful junk removal businesses. 2 of them right now, they're set to make over $1 million in their businesses this year. One's up in the Bay Area. There's another buddy of mine out in Ohio somewhere. I forget where. I think somewhere near Dayton. But anyways, they both have really successful companies. And I remember reaching out to both of them and I told them like, hey, what do you guys think? Because before I had joined Parrots Lab Media, I was like, hey, this company's offering this, that, or that. And they're like, well, what are they charging? So I told them the price. They're like, Justin, that's actually not bad. Like, sure, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, if they're going to be handling like all the metrics for your social media, for everything, like how many people are coming to your ads, like, how many interactions you're getting, like all the metrics, if they're running that along, because we were all using the same guy before for like our digital ads, right? Sure, it was a nice stepping ground and everything, and the videos looked nice, whatever, had captions and everything, but nobody was running metrics on like, hey, how much is this, how fully effective are these ads, for example? And that's just ads. They didn't include all this cool stuff like podcasting and, all the social media apps, everything's being posted on, that there's teams behind this and teams behind those teams. And I was like, really? And so when I had come here, because I had met Naja the first time I met him was at the Redlands Chamber of Commerce. And he gave a presentation on Parrot Side, and I was like, oh, this looks cool, but I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to afford this. I was like, this guy looks way too professional. And so, and then he had mentioned he was from Lebanon, and I was like, because I have some friends from there. And I was like, so I went up to him, said, hey, hello, how are you, and how you doing? And we just started chatting. And then we just kind of left it that he gave me his card. I gave him my card, and that was it. And then a week or two later, I happened to visit the BNI that he's in. And because I know a lot of people, or at least a couple of people in there, and then he reached out to me. He goes, hey, I have a jacuzzi that needs being cut up and removed. He goes, can you come by and give me a quote or something?
I remember that.
And so I was just like, okay. So he sent me photos, gave me dimensions. So I gave him a price. And he goes, okay, that sounds fair. And he goes, when you come over, he goes, I'll give you a tour of the studio. I was like, okay, cool. He gives me a tour of the studio. I was like, this is so cool. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford this. This
got way too many cameras.
I was like, it's so many. There's
2 cameras, I might be a chance.
Right. I was like,
But he's got like 5.
Well, because the setup was so cool. And I'm like, and then he goes, well, we can have a round table with my team, and we can discuss what we can offer and whatnot, and then I'll give you a proposal, and then you let me know. I'm like, okay. So I cut up the jacuzzi, did all that. He left me an amazing 5-star review online, which was awesome. And then I met with him and some members of the team later. And then when he gave me his proposal, I was like, this is more than what I'm currently spending, but at the same time, I think this is beyond reasonable. I was like, now I know when you're going with somebody different, especially when you're already marketing a certain way, like I was marketing myself as the working stiff, I'm out there in the field, I'm doing this. And your guys' strategy is more on the professional side. Like, hey, we're going to show you in a different light. We're going to show you as a professional. I was like, okay.
Because it allows you to charge more.
Right. Absolutely. And so I was like, all right. I was like, so when he gave me the numbers, I'm like, so I talked with Nicole. I'm like, what do you think? I'm like, here's what we're currently spending. This will be a little more, but I was like, I think over time it could be worth it in the long run. I was like, we'll never know until we try. I was like, and this is right around the time it's becoming the new year. And when you start a new year, it's like the New Year's is always like the first quarter is always tough in this industry. And when you're changing focus on your marketing, you're taking a leap of faith.
Really?
You are. I mean, obviously. And Naja had told me, he goes, the one thing I can ask you is just trust the process. And trusting the process is not easy when the phone is not ringing, or because obviously the new ads are popping up and people are seeing you in a whole different light. You're no longer in your uniform or, out in front of your trailer, or you're not, the ad's not showing you pulling branches or lifting up pallets or whatever. You're in a professional setting. And so it's casting you in a different light. And of course, there are some people that are going to come out of the woodworks in a not so positive way when they see you on camera. And so I think it took people a little time getting used to me in that setting. Now I think with some of our recent ads that we just recorded, it's going to be a blend of like the professional studio ads, but then also it is going to be showing me outside in the field as well, like with my uniform and some of the other fun stuff that's to come. It's kind of fun exploring this because I know that you guys typically have not had a client that does junk removal, so we're all kind of figuring this out together.
Yeah.
But using other people's inspiration, like people that do this, like, I look at people online and, some of the things that are like hooks to bring people in. It's finding that out together, and that's kind of nice working with everyone on the team because like I'm like, hey, what do you guys think of this? Like, and some people and some of the folks like, hey, this is good. Like, maybe we can do and like some of the scripts that are created. So we did that in our last recording. Like, I mean, how we did this outside is beyond me. Like, had to memorize lines like off the cusp. Not easy, but it worked out. And so I can't wait to see those new ads that come out. That'd be great.
You're gonna love them. I've seen them already.
Yay.
Insider.
They're funny.
And funny is good because all my friends that I have a buddy of mine up in the Bay Area that they focus on funny ads.
Yeah.
And everything that him and his team do, it's like it reels people in. And some of them those videos have gone viral in the best of ways. I mean, you see some of my buddies' ads. Shout out to Nico's Hauling up in the Bay Area. Like he grew up in the digital era, so he does all his own editing. He does all his own stuff. And just the ideas that he's come up with are just beyond amazing. And he'll be like, and he told me, Justin, use my stuff. I don't care. We're in a whole different market. You're not competing against me. And he's like, if you use my ad, I'm honored. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. And so there was some inspiration drawn from some of his stuff, along with many other people's stuff, trying to hybridize all that and see what comes up with it.
So what have you heard about your guys' content so far?
Oh, everybody likes it, and they're starting to recognize him more and more. There's been really no negative other than, like he said at the beginning, like the waiting for all the ads and all that stuff to hit. So like every month I'm like, oh, how's it going? Oh, how's it going? So, but that's kind of like that kind of went away because we created traction, and the business is doing well. And
when did you start seeing traction?
I want to say like by the third month.
Like by the third or fourth month, people started reaching out more. I mean, in the beginning, sure, you get inquiries all the time, right? And a lot of those inquiries are just like, I mean, again, we're all figuring this out, right? Because like what is being put out there for the public to see is one thing, but then also there's the metrics behind the scenes. The SEO is important too, because it's like, I'm nowhere to be found on Google, even though I have a Google profile with over 100 something 5-star reviews or close to it, I think. Why am I not being seen? And so, one of our guys that two of the guys that handle it were, they did a forensic analysis and they're like, okay, we need to do this, that, or that to get you started. It's going to take at least a month and a half, 2 months. And then you're going to have to do this. I mean, and so I think after the first quarter, for sure, the first quarter was a very hard incubation period. Like the starting of the second quarter started seeing more and more, like not just I don't want to say BS requests from people, but like the inquiry started becoming a little more serious. Like, oh, hey, so can you do this? Can you do that? Instead of, oh, why don't you do free junk removal? I'm like, free? I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Free estimates.
I was like, we can do free estimates.
People see free and they're like, oh, it's free.
And then there's people like commenting on the ads like, oh, I know people that do this for free. Let me know. I'll tell you the people that do it for free. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not in this to work for free. I mean, I'm here to try
the audacity of people.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, unless you have a nonprofit, which I don't know anyone doing junk removal as a nonprofit, it's like, I mean, sure, it can be done, but you want to run a nonprofit, you have to literally ask people for money and grants, and that's a whole different animal. I am not skilled in that, in that field of asking or even sometimes begging people for money. I know folks that do it and they're really good at it, but they have to hear the word no a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, that's just adding more and more work. And I'm like, I'm in this to make money, to try to build a name. And when I was doing my own marketing, it was taking a lot of my time. Yeah. And I was like, when I ran the metrics on what you guys do, I was like, okay, if they run this frees me up a lot more to be able to do other creative things. I'm like, and my buddy up in the Bay Area is like, dude, Justin, that's a no-brainer. Sign with them. That sounds like a great deal. He goes, at least give him a chance. It's better than the last dude we had. Because, I mean, the last guy did great content. In fact, one of his customers is a very big client up in the Bay Area. But it wasn't working the same for us. And so I was like, okay, it's worth giving him a shot. And we're starting to see more results, and it's awesome. I love the direction we're going in.